What's going on, guys? Chameleon here. So I haven't been able to upload much content lately because one, I got a new job which has been keeping me super busy. It's a lot busier than my last job. And two, more importantly, I'm getting married soon. It's a super exciting time for me right now, but quite hectic as well. There's just a lot going on, but it's all good stuff. So even though I'm not making much content right now, I'm still trying to stream when I can. And once things calm down a bit, I'll be back to my normal schedule. But until then, someone in chat suggested I make videos on what I'm doing for the wedding. And I'm not trying to show you guys me picking flowers with my fiance or anything like that, but instead, I got something really cool for you. I'm going to show you guys how I'm making gifts for my honorary groomsmen. And here we go, let's do this. So the theme I wanted to push with these gifts is brotherhood. It's something that has always meant a lot to me, and I wanted this to be reflected in my gifts for my groomsmen. So I decided to get something out of the norm. Not something like a cigar or a cigar cutter, not a flask or anything else like that, but a Spartan sword. I've always loved Spartan stuff, from Kratos and God of War to movies like 300, even the Phalanx battle formation for example. It's really awesome, where each Spartan soldier would protect the person next to him and have each other's back, which is basically the vibe I'm pushing for here. Having each other's back, brotherhood, all that good stuff. These are gifts from my closest friends that I've known since we were in diapers, that have always been there for me, and if I ever needed them, they would be there in a heartbeat. And recently, I rewatched 300 for the millionth time, so I felt like I could really tie this in well. I started by ordering these swords. There's a total of 7 of them. Each one has their name engraved on the hilt or the handle, giving the sword a nice personal touch. The swords are actually pretty heavy too, or I'm just a wuss and can't really lift it up, which is very possible. But now what I plan to do is to first start by decorating the outsides of the boxes. I'm not a fan of this cover that they got going on here. I want a more classy look to it, all while still having a badass vibe at the same time. Now to accomplish this, I ordered 2 different wraps. One is matte black for the outside, and then I'll use this gold wrap on the inside. Matte black because I love the way it looks, and gold to keep the Spartan theme going. Now let's begin the fun work. I got myself a tape measure, scissors, and some tape. My fiance is a much better gift wrapper than I am, so she's going to be helping here from the shadows. We lay the box on top of the wrap, then begin to cut it, making sure we have enough extra wrap to wrap around the sides of the box. Now we start to tape it, and once this is all taped up, we get a super smooth matte black look on top. It's perfect. There's still something I want to add to the top of the box as well. I believe it gets here in a couple of days, so when it does, that's when we'll do it. But for now, let's move on to the inside of the box. When we go into the box, you can see there's styrofoam all over. I can't remove this unfortunately because I'll be shipping some of these out of state and need to keep them protected while they're on their way. So instead of painting the styrofoam, I'm gonna just create a perimeter of Spartan gold. This gold color will resemble the color of their shields from the movie 300. First, I cut some pieces for the top of the box and the bottom of the box. I tape them down, then I cut pieces for the sides, tape those down as well. You can even use glue if you wanted to, but tape was fine for me. And once all the pieces are down, you get a beautiful gold perimeter around the sword. Here's what they look like all together. For the next step, I ordered some red fabric online. This resembles the Spartan red that's the color of their capes in the movie 300. I want to use this fabric to wrap the sword in. I think it'll give it a really nice look. Now I spread the fabric out over the table, place the sword on top of it, and I want a really messy, beat up, jagged look to the fabric, like it's been through some battles. So I'm cutting this in a non-linear fashion. This is what it looks like. The cuts are sporadic and random. You can honestly just do this however you want. Next, I'm laying the fabric down into each one of the boxes right inside of the styrofoam. And I'm placing the sword inside of the styrofoam right on top of the fabric. And finally, wrapping the sword up in the fabric. Because now that I've removed all the protective plastic on the sword, this fabric will now be what protects the sword instead. Plus, it looks way better than the plastic wrap. Now here's a look at all the swords together. They just keep looking better and better. So far, so good. But one other thing I wanted to do was create a sound experience for them as they open the gift. I ended up ordering these small sound modules online. These are actually light sensitive. So what I'll do is place these in the cover of the box. That way, as soon as they lift the cover up, sound will hit the photoresistor and it'll initiate a sound of some sort, which for me, in this case, is going to be the 300 Spartan chant. I was able to get a hold of the 300 clip that I want to use. I threw it into my video editing software, kept only the audio, and increased the volume a bit, because I want the speakers to blast this. So when it kicks off, it'll sound like this.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Now that my sound file is complete, I want to take this module and connect it to my PC. These modules actually came with QR codes that you can scan for instructions, but my background is in electrical engineering, so not much is going to surprise me with these circuit boards. I'm just going to jump right into it. I began by connecting my board to my PC via USB cable. It's pretty straightforward, and since I already have the file, I can just transfer it right over. It actually had a default file in there, but I just deleted that and transferred my own. So now when I unplug the module from my PC and make sure that there's a light source hitting the photoresistor, this is what you'll hear.
Spartans! What is your profession?
It sounds amazing. Now, I made 6 more of these to total 7 because there are 7 swords, and one great feature about these boards is that they have a sticky adhesive on the back. So I'm going to peel this back and put it right on the cover. This is what it looks like, right in the middle inside the cover. I put this here because I wanted to visually hide them from sight, and the only risk with this is that when they open the gift, light might not hit the photoresistor to trigger it, but I'm going to angle it and test it out before shipping just to make sure everything's working properly. So assuming I did everything correctly, which I'm going to have to play with the photoresistor a little, but let's just try it out anyway. This is what it'll be like.
Spartans! What is your profession?
That worked perfectly. It's freaking awesome. Here's all the boxes together again to give you a view of where the soundboards are. Now, if you remember earlier, I had mentioned that I wanted to do one more thing to the outside of the box, and that item has finally arrived. This was the item I was talking about. These are decals or stickers of a Spartan helmet. I want this to be on top of the box, and I made sure that these were transparent so the matte black would continue to show. So I placed it here right in the middle, and it looks fantastic. Now I'll do this to the rest of the boxes, and again when I group them all together, this is what they look like. At this point, all the decorations to this box are complete. However, there is one last component to this, and it's probably one of the most important. It's the letter to my groomsmen. I want the letter to look like an old letter from ages ago. So first, I start by finding an image on Google that looks like old paper. I throw this into Microsoft Word, and I'm using this image as a front and back to my letters. This for now is just my test note, and I'm just using this to show you guys what it'll look like. But obviously when I do the real letters, I'll write something really creative and a little more heartfelt than just blah. So to add to the old paper effect, I went to my local office supply store and bought this specific paper. It's a little more expensive for paper, but I wanted a rough feel to it, and I wanted this copper or brownish color. That way I won't have to worry about dyeing the paper with either tea, coffee, or something else. I then used the brownish paper to print my letter on, and this is what it looks like. I'll now cut the edges to remove the white borders, and it gives it a nice clean look. Next, I'm soaking the paper in water. This is in order to give a hard and uneven texture once it dries out. So I put some water in a plate to use. I'll actually use a big tray when I make the real letters, but again, this is just to give you an idea. I put the paper in the water, start to cover it with water, and then let it soak in for a bit. After that, I pull the paper out and wait for it to dry. You can even use an oven or a hairdryer to speed it up, whatever works for you. Then once it's completely dry, you can see how the paper looks a little wavy, it's a little more rough as well, and it gives it an awesome old feel to it. And this brings us to the final touch to the letter. We're burning the edges. I'm doing this in my living room right now because I'm doing a quick demo, but this is a terrible place to do this. When I do my real letters, I'll burn all of them in my kitchen sink or somewhere safer. Also, if any of you are watching this and plan on doing this, make sure if you're not an adult to go get help from an adult on this part. But anyways, this is what we're doing. Roll up the paper, take a lighter to the side, let it burn for a sec, then quickly put it out. I usually start to wave the paper around and then open it up and continue to wave it. It puts it out a lot quicker. So once the fire is out, you can see that on the edges of the paper, it gives a really cool burn mark. I'm only showing you guys me burning one side here, but you'll have to burn both sides. And when you combine that with everything else we did to this piece of paper, it makes for a real old, ancient, genuine look. You could even crinkle up the paper to add lines to it or creases, but I'm just going to leave mine like this because I plan on rolling them up as scrolls. So once I finished my 7 letters, I put one in each box inside of the red fabric, and that's it, I'm done. Altogether, this took me about 2 weeks to make. I put a lot of thought into this, to be honest. I had to make 7 of them, and on top of that, I had to wait on shipment times as well. But in the end, I think it was worth every second I put into this, and I think my friends will really like it. What do you guys think? If you received a groomsmen gift like this, would you like it or no? Leave me a comment below. Now, I'll let you guys enjoy a full unboxing of the gift. Please smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.